Imagine walking through London in the fall of 1888. It's well past midnight. The air is thick with a suffocating fog, and the only light comes from flickering gas lamps casting long shadows on the wet cobblestones. Out of nowhere, a sharp cry breaks the silence, and by dawn, the local police discover another terribly mutilated body discarded in the alleyway. The morning patrol found only the victim. No weapon, no footprints, and no witnesses had seen a soul leave the alley. Whoever was committing these acts appeared to simply evaporate the moment the violence ended. London in 1888 sat as the engine of the British Empire, but 3 miles from the grand bridges and carriages of the city centre, the infrastructure of the Victorian age effectively stopped. This image shows the reality of the Whitechapel district. It was a severe slum. Thousands of desperate, impoverished workers and their families were crammed in filthy, overcrowded alleys where policing was practically non-existent. It was in this neglected environment that the panic started. On the morning of August 31st, a local woman named Mary Ann Nichols was found dead, marking the first recognized victim in a sudden wave of violence. Over the next few weeks, the bodies multiplied. The violence escalated rapidly, climaxing on the night of September 30th, when 2 victims were discovered murdered within mere hours of each other. By combining an endless supply of vulnerable targets, maze-like unlit streets, and an attacker who struck with rapid precision, Whitechapel became a trap. The largest city on Earth was entirely paralyzed by fear. You can see how the Victorian press capitalized on that fear in this newspaper clipping. The massive, ghastly murder headline and the graphic descriptions of mutilation printed directly below it ensured public panic remained at a fever pitch. Soon after, news agencies received a handwritten letter from someone actively taunting the police and claiming full responsibility for the bloodshed. The author signed off at the very bottom with a chilling pen name, Jack the Ripper. That single piece of mail shifted the dynamic of the case. An anonymous, flesh-and-blood criminal was elevated into a mythological figure, creating a brand name for terror that spread rapidly around the globe. The men tasked with stopping him were entirely unequipped for the job. Take a look at this portrait of the 1887 Metropolitan Police Force. These officers operated in a pre-scientific era. They had no access to fingerprinting, blood typing, or even basic protocols for securing a crime scene. Because the attacker removed internal organs with alarming speed in near total darkness, investigators logically assumed he had anatomical training. They aggressively focused their hunt on local surgeons, physicians, and slaughterhouse butchers. They dragged dozens of potential suspects in for intense interrogations and interviewed countless witnesses. But every single lead filtered down to the exact same outcome: zero physical evidence to link anyone to the crimes. The Metropolitan Police increased their presence by hundreds of men and detained thousands of travelers, yet the killings continued without a single arrest. Without forensic science to connect suspects to the scenes, the investigation remained at a dead end. That sheer lack of resolution has driven historians and scientists to keep obsessing over the case today, 138 years later. Modern researchers have repeatedly turned to the surviving physical evidence. As you can see in this sequencing film, forensic scientists have spent years trying to extract and match DNA profiles from century-old items, like a shawl supposedly found near one of the victims. Every few years, a new study will claim they have definitively matched the DNA to a specific suspect. And every time, the theory eventually crumbles when subjected to rigorous peer review by other geneticists. Even with over a century of technological advancement on our side, modern science has failed to provide a single, universally accepted name. We are left with the exact same questions that haunted Whitechapel in 1888. Was the killer a wealthy aristocrat slumming in the East End, a local tradesman hiding in plain sight, or someone the police never even thought to look at? Unless an entirely new, pristine piece of evidence is miraculously unearthed, the man behind the knife is permanently lost to the fog of history. The story of Jack the Ripper persists in our collective memory because of a grim truth. He proved that a person could prey upon society's most vulnerable, outsmart the entire justice system, and then simply vanish without a trace.